Hey guys, what is up? What is up again, I should say. Sitting there streaming, I must have been connected to the Wi-Fi. Lovely. Yeah, I was sitting there about to make a point about something, but I didn't. Thought I'd go ahead and do a little bit of walking, a little bit of talking, and a little bit of talking while I'm walking, because I'm apparently super clever with things I say. They got me. Ah! Oh my God, I'm such an idiot. But yeah, how boy, that looks a hell of a lot brighter. Looks a hell of a lot brighter here on the camera than it does here on the screen. And there's someone driving past me. It's not a big deal, whatever. But I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, I thought I'd come out here. Well, it's still pretty warm. God, I want to say it's something like probably in the 80s, probably, or upper 70s at the coolest. Yeah. I mean, then again, I know it could be a lot worse. I could be in Arizona or Texas or Arizona. I know a lot of people would say that Arizona is definitely worse than Texas. Texas. Some people might say. I'm trying to get it right. It's like saying, New Orleans versus New Orleans. All depends on how you pronounce it. But I don't know, whatever. But oh my God, there was something I was thinking about. I want to talk about. That, I mean, it's not a huge thing or anything, but I was just sitting there thinking about how, I was up at Fred Meyer's today, or earlier tonight, maybe a few hours ago, and I was sitting there looking at these, copies of, I was in the electronic sections looking at the games and stuff. I was looking at the copies of, NBA 2K18 and all that stuff. And it had nothing to do specifically with just the NBA or NFL or any of those specific games, but like I was thinking, God, years ago when you had, those people, or not those people, but like the industry people saying how, back before PS1 came out, right? Back when Sony and Nintendo were, in talks of, putting out an expansion hardware for the Super Nintendo, way back in the day. Oh my God, that was so long ago. And they were talking about, like, how you could do it was like a CD-ROM deal that they were going to do, and of course you had with CDs, with the whole idea of CDs and things, you had the whole thing with memory cards and the like. And we have a bunch of people behind us, and that's making me feel insanely awkward. And they're going as slow as all hell. Hold on. I see they're pulling right here. Okay, lovely. Anyway, it was the idea that you would save your save files and the like, and any game-related data on things like memory cards and the like. And aside from saving data on some external piece of hardware such as memory cards and the like, how they're talking about, like, with certain things, like in terms of not save data necessarily, but actual usable, like essentially like an early version of, like, oh my God, a little more came up than just a burp. Oh. Anyway, you had things like, you'd have essentially like an early version of, like, God, I don't know, DLC, I guess, even though you couldn't download anything back then because there was very little in the way of downloadable content or in internet, legitimate console internet anyway, not like you have now with PS3, PS4, Xbox 360 and the like. But you'd have the idea, what the Weird. Maybe it's just a shadow on my glasses. I thought I saw something going across my glasses. Anyway, the idea of, like, say, a good example of, of the example that I remember hearing about or reading about back in Nintendo Power, because, reasons, that you would have the ability to update certain games, like where you would have, for your football games, your NBA games, things like that, you would have the ability to upload or download or get from certain vendors at the time anyway, the ability of updating teams, of updating your sports teams. And like, say, if you had your football game or whatever, a football game at the time, that you could, like, the next year when you had the brand new roster out for, the real life teams, you'd be able to update, your game with the newest rosters and the newest players and stuff. And even though I personally don't care, about the football games, the basketball games, those kind of things, but still the idea, though, was really kind of cool and really kind of novel. And I was saying, how cool would that be to, even at the time, even though it was still kind of in a primitive infant stage, so to speak, it was still really cool, the idea that you could, that you could basically download or somehow obtain information, from some external source, and essentially, update, your game, like in the case with sports games, like being able to update your team rosters and things like that. And that is something that would be, really neat. But you fast forward, all this time. You don't even have to fast forward until now. But at the time when they would, release, like, even the PS2 and the like, in the first Xbox, where you would have, rather than being able to extend, truly extend, even the most basic aspect of games like that, of your basketball games. Oh, there's a dog behind me. But being able to, extend your game with, okay, now I'm kind of distracted a little bit. But basically extending your the game itself with even little things like being able to, have updated team rosters or brand new little things like that. But now you have stuff where, rather than updating that one single game for a few years or whatever, now you have games like, the NBA 2K series, and now they have a brand new version you have to pay for every single year. And in a way, that does kind of suck that they're doing that. I mean, well, at least from a consumer standpoint. On one hand, unfortunately, I get it from a total, complete business standpoint, but I heard a howl. But I feel like, even though I know there are a lot of, games and stuff these days that will continue to get support like that through the years. GTA 5 is an excellent one, where God, I don't remember when it was released, but it was released probably 3-4 years ago or something. And they're still bringing out content for it, and that's the kind of stuff I like to see. And it's not just any content. It's not the greatest content, because I feel like they've kind of broken the game, like in the case of GTA 5. Everything has just gotten crazy out of hand. But at least, they're giving you, the player, more reason to come back, because, oh, hey, there's a new tank. There's or not a new tank, but a new weapon or a new vehicle or whatever, and that's awesome. And I do commend them for that. So like, the $60 that you spent, on day one, at least they're giving you reasons to come back. And I just wish more and more games did that. I mean, not every single game has to do that, because there are some games that are good the way they are, especially if they really focus, Like, you could look at Breath of the Wild as an example on the Switch. Did that game, need more stuff, more content? No. It was a complete game the way it was. And, how you could go and just play it, and for who knows, how many hours, and have a fucking blast with it. There's so much content, to work on. You don't need any more DLC for it. But with, but I think with games that, where they purposely take out content just to, just to put them back in, quote unquote, as purchasable, buyable, content, like whether it's, oh God, what the hell is the term for it? In-game purchases. God, I don't know why I suddenly can't think of the damn term now. Or, or they would take out weapons, or they take out, maps, or, certain, or even something that's really stupid as like, skins or specific character models, where they'll take it out and then sell it to you for $5, to get this costume, or to get, this set of costumes for this character, that character. I think that's the worst. I mean, loot boxes, of course, are a whole other matter, but I'm not talking about, specific loot box stuff, but where a game might say, hey, spend $1.99 or $5 to get a new coat for your weapon, or to get a new character skin, or a new character model, or a new, character animation, I don't think they do this. I'm not 100% sure, so correct me if I'm wrong, but like when they dance, like maybe a new dance for Fortnite or something, right? Something like that. Just that's not great. I mean, but at least when it comes to in-game purchases like that, when they try to nickel and dime you for things like that, I would much rather have it be, at the very least, cosmetic, rather than, hey, pay to win. That's definitely the worst. Boy, I just keep getting followed all the time because there's the people right behind me. But I do kind of miss the days of, being able to get a game, spend, just being able to spend, $40, $50, $60, whatever, basically full price for a game, and knowing that you're getting a good, solid game where you don't have to worry about, buying, new skin or new content, where, there's so much stuff found in the game that, you could literally go, at least a year without a single bit of new content. That's kind of what I see, because I am from that generation of gamers where, for NES, Super NES, N64, PS1, PS2, where you went out, you spent your money to buy, such and such game, and whatever content you got, all the stuff you got, and as far as, including any and all bugs and glitches and stuff, you got what you paid for, and you're not going to get anything else. Which means, but what I liked about those kind of games when it comes to like the glitches and bugs, because there's no way to easily patch the games, they had to take more time to fix the game. It was going to be before the thing was released. And that was nice, knowing that you got a more complete, comprehensive experience with less crap, with less, well, when I mean crap, I mean like glitches and bugs and stuff. But of course, the downside is that back then it didn't cost nearly as much, or wasn't nearly as time extensive to make. You didn't have to spend 4 years, who knows how many millions of dollars, $10 million, $50 million, or whatever you ended up having to spend, to get, to make said title. And then, of course, because companies are having to do that now and having to increasingly spend more and more time, more effort, more everything on this game, they then have to try to push it out as fast as they can so they can start earning money on said titles. And that ends up leading to more bugs, more glitches, more updates, and just generally and of course, I feel like that is another reason why they start including more DLC, for more games, whether it's, some new characters, new enemies, more maps or whatever, more levels. It's definitely a whole gray area thing. It's definitely a balancing act, and I don't know. There are times where I definitely wish we could go back to that age, where we could have, where we could spend, our 50 or 60 hard-earned dollars on a complete experience, or at least as a complete experience as you could possibly make it. But at the same time, I think if they do DLC right, that's good. As far as the new skins, or maybe a few little things like cosmetic things. Just don't charge for that crap, or at least release it as free content, Give us that. Just please, for the love of God, give us that. And if you are going to charge, for stuff, for DLC, extra stuff, you better, don't sit there, release the game, and then at the same time, here's some more DLC that you can spend, here's a new Call of Duty game, but on day one, you can also buy the expansion pass, which grants you immediate access to all these new levels. Really? Come on. Knock that crap off. Oh, I hate that. That is an obvious money grab right there. Come on. That's a middle finger to all the players. Give us the free freaking content, or give us that content right off the bat. If you're still, I feel like if you're going to support, say again, with these maps of Call of Duty or whatever, it's one thing if you're going to give these people, if you're going to give your customers new maps, and all that kind of stuff, or new classes, or new this, or new that, for your game, keep, just don't, it's hey, we're going to, try to extend your game thing, far past. Don't just, give, within the first 6 months, here's all the stuff you can buy. There you go, have fun. No. Again, I know it's the same thing. One thing, I know it's the whole thing about you want to get the game out as fast as possible so they can start getting more money, more return on their investment. I understand that, but I wish they would be able to. I wish they were afforded more time from the shareholders to just get all the content, as much of that content as they can, into the game first. It's that way. If there is DLC that they have to release post game release, it's cheaper or something. It's just unfortunate that that's not how it works. You can't have it both ways, unfortunately. Yeah, it'd be great to have, a complete experience on day one without having to have a day one update, without having to have, with the day one update, without having to have, day one DLC that is like $25 or something for for some maps or for a season. It's like, God, I don't know. Just unfortunately, just can't have it both ways, and that's just too bad. That's just too bad. Okay, I'm trying to keep a watch of where boy, that's a crazy kind of a. Oh boy, I'm getting washed out here. It's kind of a neat, kind of a cool but kind of scary view. Anyway, but I don't know. I mean, I guess there's not a whole hell of a lot I can really talk more about that. Just I wish they would have. I wish there was some perfect happy medium, but there's never a happy medium in in this kind of industry when it comes to your games. But I don't know. What else? My God, what else did I want to talk? I don't know if there's much else I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to get that kind of off my chest. Not like it was bugging me or anything. I mean, it wasn't. I just thought it would be kind of an interesting thing to kind of talk about. I'm kind of noticing people jumping in and out. I must not be that engaging. Oh my Lord. I mean, then again, I'm sure this is not exactly the best lighting though either. I'm sure it's like motion sickness and stop your moving and stop walking. Hold on here. Get some water here. Whew. I didn't know if I was going to make it. I didn't know if I was going to be able to make that one. So I'm going to put the water bottle in my pocket here. There we go. Okay. But I just wanted to kind of I just want to talk about it because I thought the whole business with the state of DLC and all that kind of stuff. How I just wonder how things would have gone, had they gone more of the quote unquote correct way, rather than the more consumer sided type of content, rather than the business standpoint. Business standpoint being, rather than releasing that that roster, like those sports rosters, instead of releasing them as a whole separate brand new game with different looks and different things. I mean, part of me understands. Well, it kind of makes me think of, excuse me, like Little Big Planet. You look at Little Big Planet, and yeah, they had some some DLC, but granted they kept making more and more costumes for your for the game and everything, and the occasional levels, professional made levels. But a lot of the stuff though also came from user related stuff, and that's cool too. Just a second. Okay. But the only reason why they released, Little Big Planet 2, and then went from, how they went from Little Big Planet 2 to Little Big Planet 3, only was to introduce actual new, not just some new levels or here's some new costumes, some legitimate new mechanics and things, and that's cool. And considering too, I'm sure a lot of it was easy. I'm sure it's a little bit easier to do something like that, to focus on the mechanics of a game like that, because they knew that they had made the user creation tool, so that users and players could actually create their own levels with something like Little Big Planet, so that they didn't have to worry so much about trying to make the second game 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 versions of the same game. That was probably kind of a smart move, I think, on Media Molecule's part. but so that when they came out with the second one, they came out with the third one, they could focus more on legitimate mechanical improvements. I think that's a little bit better of a reason to come out with a new version of a game, rather than let's just have some better graphics and an updated team roster, for your NBA game or your NFL or your Madden game and stuff. And there's some bright stuff. I don't know. I just wish that they made it more consumer friendly, so that rather than coming out with 2K. Was it 2K16 and 2K17, 2K18, that they would have just stuck with maybe one version of the game and said, yeah, here's just some updated rosters, for your game, and then maybe here's some free updates or some minimal costing updates to maybe add some new mechanics or something to the game. Like, oh, here's we thought of this cool new feature, a year down the line. Let's release it for a nominal fee of 10 or $15 or whatever, and boom, here you go. Rather than saying, let's build things from the ground up and charge their users $60. To me, I was thinking when you come out with a yearly version like that, to me, it's almost a ripoff. It's just a bloody ripoff. That kind of crap. I hate that. But unfortunately, with how businesses are these days, that's just the unfortunate business model. It's just the unfortunate business model. I'm hearing stuff behind me. Oh boy, it's getting kind of dark. Yeah, let's go back this way, so I'm not totally blacked out. So I'm probably gonna have to finish up here. I need to get back inside because it's kind of muggy out here, despite it being whatever time it is. Oh God, it's 10 o'clock. Yeah, definitely gonna want to get. I need to get back inside, or finish this first. Get back inside, take my shower because I need to start. I feel kind of right now because it's just so muggy. But anyway, I think at this point I'm going to have to probably call this quits for now. If I can think of other little topics that I could potentially discuss. I think whether I'm doing these walk and talk sessions or sit down in front of my computer or my laptop sort of thing, I would definitely love to do it. If anyone has any questions or comments of things that topics that they would like to see me talk about, if there's something that I find interesting enough, I would definitely love to talk about it. Bring it up on on one of these streams, and then maybe even shout you out for the question if I find it interesting. If I feel like I have enough of an opinion or thoughts about it, that'd be cool. So if you guys have any questions or topics that you would like to see me cover, even if I'm just sitting there rambling on about it, with no specific purpose, but maybe where I try to cover it to the best of my abilities, I would definitely love to hear from you guys. So on that note, thank you all for joining my stream, and please follow me, and and to make sure you turn on the notification button for when I go live, so you guys know when I will be on. I do my best to stream video games on Mondays at about approximately 1:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I'm trying to do some new streams where I'm doing maybe D&D character creations more at the end of the week. So maybe either tomorrow or Saturday, I'm going to try to set up a stream where I'm making a D&D character, by either a pre-existing character or just a completely brand new off the cuff kind of character. And then I'm also going to try to be streaming, if I can, if and when I can, some separate streams of playing Final Fantasy VII. So yeah, so definitely follow me. You can also find me on YouTube at Daquine Gaming, or you can find me on Twitter at Daquine Game Army, all one word. Uh, so yeah, on that note, thank you all for joining me, and I hope to see you guys here again. I will also attempt to have more streams like this where it's just more off the cuff discussions and ramblings and stuff like that, because sometimes it's nice to just to get stuff like this out. You know, if I have something like that on my mind that I want to think of, that I'm thinking about, it's nice to get it out. You know. So anyway, thank you all for joining me, and I will see you guys later. Bye.